Well, time for Unicorn Talk, and with the founder of Druva, Jaspreet. Welcome to Startup Central. Welcome to ET Now. I'm going to begin by saying you're a tough cookie to catch, media reticent. We're catching you here at the Thai Global Summit, and you're also a very brave person, willing to breathe this toxic air and be in this gas chamber. Good time to be in India?
Thank you. I love being back in Delhi. I had early foundation years here, so love being back.
Despite the fact...
Despite all the facts, absolutely.
We are indoors as well. Okay, but jokes aside, we're calling this interview segment the Unicorn Talk. The idea being for you to also share your story, going back to 2008. How did Druva start?
Well, we had a dream, we had an idea that we want to be something, someone, build something, and we saw this big opportunity with data. The data is just a beast. Data is oil in the industry, but...
As Mukesh Ambani says, data is a new oil.
Absolutely. and it's still hard to mine it, still hard to store it, maintain it, manage it. We wanted to make it radically easy, radically simple for global enterprises to manage their data. And we felt there are companies which are application companies, system companies. There's no data company in the world. If data is oil, which company comes to mind which is passionate about data and data management, right? It should not be everybody's problem. It should be like a single software that does a good job of it. So a dream, a passion led to building something. Obviously, the rest of the story, we tried multiple times, failed multiple times, but kept on going, and here we are.
Can I ask you, Jaspreet, why not in India?
Well, it's not a question of India or US, right? It's a question of where the customer is. Ultimately, it's all about the customer, right? And and how do we reach out to the customer in a most efficient, riskless manner, right? It happened to us that the customer, the companies that had dire desire to manage data, they're all in the US. At least at that time, the local market wasn't big enough. And if you sell into enterprises, the customer proximity matters. So you literally we had to pack the bags and shift there and try to understand, be close to customers, and those pivots which we made were not possible if we were not close enough to customers as we were.
So you are now a unicorn, right? So like going forward, what is your next bucket list? What do you have on your bucket list?
See, a unicorn.
I know you never must have said unicorn. I don't know if you did or not, but
It's as someone said, right? Bay Area is a Hollywood for geeks. Right, people love to make stories about entrepreneurs making big bunch of bucks. We frankly don't care. We care about the customer and what they're going to buy from us and how we grow revenue. So the next big thing for us as an enterprise is to what's really happening in the market. What's happening in the market is people are spending money and time and effort to sort of grow into this whole new journey called cloud. Right? And they must need partners like us to re-architect applications and data, which is truly enjoying helping them. The next big transformation for Druva is to really assess how they actually can get to mine the data they have with the Druva. So that's the journey that Druva is on to drive value of data.
That's the
next evolution for Druva. Whether we make a lot more money doing it, a lot more fun doing it, a decacon or whatever, those are side effects. Those are side outcomes of building a great product and solving the customer pain point.
So when you mine that data and that data analytics and you mine it and all of that, there's also a privacy angle, right? And a lot of lawsuits that why did you have my data? How could you mine it? How did you make money off it? You prepared for all of that?
So absolutely, we have to help customers not to get a lawsuit. That's our job, right? So we're not a data processor. We don't process data.
No, I know, but it's
exactly.
So when you mine it, I think that is one eventuality which does happen.
So we will help customers mine it.
Yeah.
So we will create all the tool chains for them to manage and mine their data efficiently. The unfair advantage Druva has is the most diversified data lake in the world. Right? We have data with customers who nobody else has, right? So
like who?
So any customer, let's say a public example, case study called NASA, right? We still store a lot of their critical missions, right? We still store a lot of critical information which obviously we can't talk about, but information which they have with Druva, which they would want to leverage at multiple points of evolution, right? And in those evolution, our job is to make data available. Privacy is a very relevant question. Who can access what? Again, our job, like an entrepreneur, we see opportunity in every single possibility. So if privacy is a challenge, there's a lot of money to be made there by enabling the enterprises to help understand who can access what. To understand who can access what, they've got to understand what is there to be accessed. So it's a whole journey of helping them understand the data landscape, what is there, what do they want out of it, who can access it, how does consent management work, right? So end-to-end thing is what we're building
And
for
the
customers.
second aspect is, if you've got clients like NASA, I'm sure there are a lot of people there or whatever trying to hack you, and you have to stay ahead of that.
Security is a big paranoia for Druva, and we are.
Are you absolutely paranoid about it?
Absolutely.
How much of your time goes to make sure that you're ahead of all the hackers?
Security is a very big theme for us, like any other company. You have to constantly play the game to make sure you're one step ahead, or if not, you're at least prepared in the best possible form of what may come your way. It's not just the software; it's the hiring processes, who you're hiring, it's the operation of the company, it's your Wi-Fi network, it's the software you're making. It's end-to-end has to be a mindset for the company.
Okay. Now, you said you literally packed your bags and decided you wanted to follow your vision, your dream, and be an entrepreneur. It came with failures. It always does, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's always a backstory to the super successes. What were those failures and what did you learn from them?
Oh, tons and tons of them. Failures, all the small mistakes we make to avoid the big one, right? So I was terrible in sales pitches, to go in front of customers and make a pitch and convince them to buy. I was terrible in recruiting. I recruited very, very wrong people in multiple times. I was terrible in inspiring individuals early on. I was an engineer who loved working on what they're doing, or a sales guy on the road, nothing in between. I failed multiple times into, how do you raise money? How do you efficiently convince customers? It's a learning curve. And every time I fail, I told myself, this is my time to fail. I can fail now. 10 years, if I fail now, people will call it bold. If I fail 10 years from now, they'll call it stupid. Right? So it's my time to fail, and I must fail to learn.
If you're going to fail big.
Absolutely. At least fail big, absolutely.
Yeah. So are you better at hiring now?
I would think so. I'm better at hiring now. I would think it made me a better person to hire, enable, do all those.
So how did you improve? Like you just learned from the mistakes, or did you actively go out there, maybe do study or speak to people? Like how did you improve?
All of this. If there's a desire to learn something, the world comes around you, right? You surround with people, with books, with literature, with mistakes, with self-learning, self-thinking.
Okay. And obviously failures are inadvertent. Going forward, what are you paranoid about? What have you not perfected? What is the area, the scope of improvement still?
I think the big focus in Druva right now is operational efficiency. How do we make sure we understand the business and all the nuances very, very well as it goes to next steps? As I said, one thing I learned from the US is not innovation; it's the scaling innovation. How does the machine work? From security to cost management to software manufacturing to sales processes, how the machine comes together. That's my opportunity of growth. That's my passion to understand and scale.
So, someone who has failed and now is a super successor, a super achiever, what would your advice be to the young entrepreneurs and founders tuning in?
Dream big. Pick up battles you cannot absolutely see yourself solving. Fail big. Be bold. Be inspirational. Just don't waste time thinking you would have done it, right? Just plunge into it and think big.
Be a doer, not just a dreamer, is what you're basically trying to say.
If you have a dream and you don't execute, it's a dream, right? If you have a vision, you don't execute, it's a dream. If you don't have a vision and you execute, it's a nightmare, right? So it's having a passion, but then going and hitting hard up against it.
So now sitting in Silicon Valley and looking back at your mother country and entrepreneurship, which is growing in India, there is a lot of exuberance on Startup Street. I, as a person who reports on it regularly, there's a lot of exuberance that you see here that you don't see in the traditional economies. Like wo apne parallel dunya mein hai. What you're seeing, and it's showing in the figures, it's showing in the data, it's showing in the deal street as well. What do you see? Like, what is different from your time when you look at the young entrepreneurs? Because at the same time that people are saying, are these Me Too models? Are they finding solutions globally? Should they even be getting involved in that?
I think I fundamentally believe India has a very strong culture for entrepreneurship. I think India as a country is a startup. India as a country, as an economy, as a government, as a nation is a startup. It's trying to figure out how to break from developing to developed markets, right? So it's understanding a lot of, there's no playbook for what India is doing.
Yeah.
Same for economy. There's no playbook for what Indian entrepreneurs have to go through. Um, there is obviously always some combination of happened elsewhere. I must repeat here, but I do see a lot of positivity. I do see a lot of enthusiasm, lot of hope when I see here in entrepreneurs. And hope is very important. Hope is very important to look at your future and say, I'm going to be better in future than I'm today. I'm going to work hard against it, and I thoroughly enjoy that sentiment when I'm here in India.
And a lot of them want to stay here. You obviously had to go for different reasons because, like you said, your clients were over there. But here, and our fathers and grandfathers perhaps had to deal with that. The opportunities didn't exist, but that's different now.
It is different now. Entrepreneur must do what he or she has to do. Location it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
and
much.
especially in today's time of telecommunications and all
Yes,
that.
cloud and internet has been a great equalizer. You wake up every day and you have the same tool set, same knowledge as a counterpart in Philippines or Indonesia or US or Germany. So internet has been a great equalizer of knowledge. It's about access to market, it's about customers, and if you can figure it out, location doesn't matter.
So, when you come to India, do you see Indian entrepreneurs who want to be mentored by you, seek time from you, maybe you want your money?
So yeah, all the time. I think in a good way, in a very positive way. It's always refreshing to see someone coming to for an advice. It also reminds me that obviously wherever I can, I should help. But at the same time, there's so different business models that all I can do is just sometimes listen and brainstorm. But there's so many different business models that advising becomes super complex.
Yeah, time is money as well. Now, Series G funding, I think you guys have done and closed and all of that. What were the initial experiences like? Do you remember your pre-series round funding and how you had to pitch your Series A funding?
Well, absolutely. My first deck I built to get funded was so horrible that if I see that deck again, I would just cane myself. Right? It's like I built a 4-pager deck. Without explaining anything about what we do for a living and asking for a bunch of money.
Who put in money into that deck?
Nobody did. They laughed and sent me back multiple times until I figured out how to build a business plan.
Okay.
And then I built a business plan and got some money, but then I pivoted. So it was fun times. Right? You look back and you enjoy about the naiveness of an entrepreneur, but naiveness is also a strength.
Yeah.
Things you don't know you can do. Also a strength to achieve what is not perceived possible.
So G rounds done. Do you think you've perfected the pitch and now you're very good at pitching? Pitch for us in 30 seconds.
Well, pitching, you as a founder, you're always selling. You're selling to employee to hire them. I'm selling right now to media. You're selling to a financial company. You're selling to a customer. You're selling all the time. Selling all the time.
I also want to ask you this, and I asked this at a session I was moderating at the event as well, and to me, I thought it would be like 101 of investment banking, which is that you should only IPO when you're profitable, but now we hear pearls of wisdom from Softbank and every investment banker out there after the WeWork debacle. What's going on in Silicon Valley after that? Is there a reset that you're seeing?
Well, consumer and enterprise are a little different. At the same time, what we always reminded back and again about a viability business model. They don't look at profit, but a viable business model becomes more and more efficient, right? If you're going to be spending less to grow more over time, and if you can demonstrate that there's a viable business model which can grow over time, there's a big desire and hunger to fund those businesses. I think profitability is less important. It's important about how much control of destiny you have and all those things, but not so much profitability.
Okay, and with SoftBank resetting, it's not having its impact at Silicon Valley?
SoftBank, I can't comment about SoftBank. SoftBank has made some very interesting investment, and they know their own destiny. I think it will definitely question viability of some business models.
Yeah.
The whole shared economy business model is in question now about how it must grow, how it sustain. But I don't think as an individual entity of SoftBank's mistake pertains to a larger market just yet.
Are you going to IPO?
We're going to be disciplined to be ready. We will see how Mr. Donald Trump and China come together. We're going to see how the entire market shapes up. There are multiple things not in our hand to decide upon the market factor. All we can do is to be ready.
And it'll be at NASDAQ?
It has to be NASDAQ or New York Exchange or any of those exchanges. Yeah.
So do you know by when you need to be disciplined to be ready?
It has to be pretty much right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much
So it
right
could
now.
be like what, next year? Is that what you're
We
looking
have
at?
to see how the market shape up. We have to see, there are many different outcomes we can take. There could be outcome of just staying to the course. We have all the money in the world to stay to the course and execute. There could be an outcome of looking at public market, to outcome to look at private markets even further.
How profitable are you now?
It's not about profitability, it's about efficiency and growth. Right?
Okay, so how efficient are you?
We are improving our efficiency every year. So
Okay.
we're in the top.
You're in the green though, right?
We're in the top 10 percentile of the best SaaS companies in the world.
Top 10%?
Percentile of the SaaS companies in the world.
Okay, that's great to hear. Before I wind up, do you have a go-to person for advice?
Could be you. I mean,
It's definitely not me. We met for the first time today.
it depends. It depends for what. I'm sure I
Okay.
will come to you for media interactions, but
I hope your PR agency is listening.
they are. I've been fortunate to have great people around me, and I have some incredibly good board members, some great advisors, some great personal friends who've been, really good coaches along the way. So I've been fortunate to have that. So no single person comes to my mind.
Okay.
But there are many role models in my life.
Is that also part of the success, that you don't have one person but multiple people that you can lean on?
Absolutely. I think the desire to learn, the desire to win, if you're open to ideas, if you're open to thought processes, then you must look at literature, people, multiple things which could help you.
Do you have a favorite entrepreneur?
My favorite entrepreneur, it must be cliche, but Elon Musk right now.
Okay.
The way he is, I drive a Tesla, and I just the sheer thrill of enjoying the product he's built is absolutely amazing.
You know, you are an Indian who has become a super achiever, unicorn, blah, 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 looking after data and all that in the US. When the Indian government is making so much noise about data protection, data localization, what do you make of it?
I seek an opportunity which I can make money on. I think localization is a trend where most customers, most enterprises and governments will have localization of data. Data is the oil, right? As you rightly said. Most companies trying to see that how can they have a local player on data, but same have this. They're in many countries.
Yeah.
Have the same quality of service, but in each country they have a local laws adhering with. That gives an answer for.
Is that an eventuality though?
Absolutely, it is. The more and more governments will dictate that the data of the citizens.
Because they won't have jurisdiction and hold them liable in case there's a breach.
Yes, even though it's very hard to control who creates IP and how IP is transacted, but it's a sentiment which will be more and more prevalent. And through public cloud setup, the way we are structured, we are in forefront of solving it. For example, when Amazon announced a data center in Mumbai, we launched with them to a local software quality in Mumbai. So with Druva, you could deploy our technology in Mumbai, Perth, Sydney,
But then
Chicago, with same quality.
Then is it fair for the Indian government to insist that the servers be located within the borders of India, especially when you have cloud technology?
I think is it logical? Is it fair? I'm not 100% sure.
Is it reasonable?
Is it reasonable? Yes.
Okay.
It is reasonable. I think it's reasonable, especially with the advent of public cloud. It is reasonable.
Okay. With that, Jaspreet, I'd like to thank you for being so candid and
Thank
all
you.
the very best.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.